Hey guys, welcome back to my virtual dog training playlist, and I got a pretty cool segment here. A rescue friend of mine had a litter of puppies she adopted out not too long ago, and on this call we have a group of some of the adopters, and we're just talking about some of the puppy challenges that they're going through. So it's pretty cool. Check it out. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget, take a peek around my channel. If you like what you see, consider subscribing to my channel as well. All right, so this is pretty much kind of like an open format type of thing. Tony wanted to set this up to address any and all puppy issues, or if you have multiple dog household, any types of those issues. So with that being said, Tony, do you have anything in particular you wanted to focus on, or you want to just open it up?
No, I would open it up. Each of the girls was prepared. Probably okay. Meg. Meg has 2 of the puppies. She may want to start.
Okay.
Of course, they're angels right now. They're both sleeping like little angels, like they always are.
Of course.
So you adopted 2 puppies, Meg?
We did. We were adopting one, and then we fostered the brother, and my husband fell in love with the brother, so we adopted both.
How old is the litter?
They're 6 months.
6 months. Okay, so let's start with the really insane people. Go ahead, Meg.
So the biggest concern we have with them, the problem we have, and she just she stopped doing it, is jumping on the counter to get food. Here she goes.
No, don't go under there. We don't fit anymore.
No. That's the number one we have with her.
Okay, so what did you present to her?
You set her up.
My other dog's food, anything that's on the counter. It can be any food. It can be my husband's bacon, cooked or raw. It's been quite a few things. She'll just grab it and
okay.
Run.
So how many times was she successful?
Oh, 3 or 4.
Okay.
Almost, yeah. I mean, she did not. So now we push everything back to the counter. You know, we kind of learn, but sometimes you forget.
Yeah.
Like when I'm making the older dogs food, and then I leave to go get their food ready, and I come back and his food's all over the floor because they've knocked it over, and then they've eaten it all.
Right. So not necessarily related to puppies, but dog behavior in general. And, you know, I probably say this a gazillion times. People are sick of hearing me say it, but it only takes one time for a behavior in the dog's mind to be successful. And when a behavior is successful, that behavior will reproduce itself. Not only that, they will get better at it, right? So, and I'm just offering that so you can keep that in the forefront of your mind, that right now there can't be another successful counter serve, right? Because let's just say I suggest, you know, X, Y, and Z to modify it. If she's still jumping on the counter and successfully procuring whatever's on the counter, it doesn't matter what you're doing to modify the behavior, because without any human intervention, the behavior is being rewarded all by herself, right? By achieving her goal, which is jumping on the counter. I mean, think of, why does a dog sit? A dog sits because their ass hits the floor and they get a cookie, right? They're more likely to do that again. Well, she jumps up, she don't get a cookie, she gets a meal, right? So,
yes.
So, and this is where supervision is very important with puppies, that, you know, they really need to be supervised at all times. You know, that you can't, and I mean, it's not like she's like chewing on electrical wires where she's going to like get shocked and electrocuted, you know, so it's not so much a safety issue, but from a behavior standpoint, you have to supervise her so she doesn't have the opportunity to jump on the counter. How many caregivers are in the house? Is it just you and your husband?
And our teenage daughter, who's in our room.
Okay, so there's 3 of you, all capable of not leaving anything on the counter. Okay.
Correct.
But we're human, right? We make mistakes. It happens. Yeah. But at 6 months old, she shouldn't really be unsupervised anyway, right? Because puppies get into trouble. And when I mean supervised, let's say all of you are puppies, and right now you're all supervised, right?
Oh,
Now you're not supervised because I'm not looking at you, right? People think supervision is just being in the house. With especially with a puppy, supervision means you are seeing what they are doing so you can modify, redirect, or in some cases, if we ever need to correct a puppy, and I don't mean hit when I say correct, in case there's anybody out there that's sensitive to the word correct, but for lack of a better word, correct a particular behavior. But first, we have to stop giving the dog opportunities for that behavior, because then we're just trying to put a fire out with gasoline. Right? You can't put a fire out with gasoline, right? You can't correct the behavior that's also being rewarded. It will never happen.
Okay.
So it's a pain in the ass, especially you have two of them. Is the other one starting to jump on the counter?
No, he doesn't have any desire.
Okay. Well, she might be correcting him. If he might have tried, if you didn't see it, he may have tried and she may have corrected him. So he probably won't mess with her if she has a high value resource.
No, he's the boss. He's the boss.
Okay.
He'll correct her. And he's got no interest in jumping on the counter.
Okay.
He's laying over there. We're in the kitchen. He lays over there. When I'm in the kitchen, she'll sit over there. But more so now, she doesn't jump on the counter when I'm in here.
Okay.
I've started to correct that. He'll do it with her because she's easy.
Right. Okay. So, well, that being said, so if next time she jumps on the counter, I shouldn't say if, next time she jumps on the counter, like when you went to get her off, were you doing that because there were people watching you, or is that how you correct her?
That's how we correct her.
Okay, you need to be a little more assertive.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Get off, like that's, and sometimes a clap of the hand just to disconnect her for a split second. And although there's not a safety issue here because it's just dog food, but it doesn't mean that there could be something else in the future, medication, that might smell a certain way. I don't know if you guys eat meat, but maybe you're defrosting a raw chicken or something. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that could go awry that could pose a safety risk, but it needs to come across that this is not acceptable. Okay. So whether you clap your hand or you whistle or you stomp on the floor and simultaneously say off, just to almost like you want to startle her. And she's 6 months old. So psychologically, she's old enough to absorb that, being startled like that. It's not like we're going to damage her relationship. Yes.
So our Juno, who is obviously one of the siblings, we clap and we do all things. And I don't know if she can't hear, but she doesn't react to any of it practically.
That's how Maple is too.
Selective hearing.
Like nothing. Like I'm like, are you deaf?
Like, oh, whatever.
And here's the thing, and I'll have to bring one of my dogs up so I can show you other types of corrections. I'm treading carefully to kind of gauge the audience.
One quickie. Someone else is trying to sign in. Can they do that late?
Yep, I'm admitting them now. I just missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So the thing with whether it's a correction or a reward, and whether we're trying to correct the behavior or redirect it with food, the correction or the food has to be of greater value than whatever the puppy is focused on. And that's why we run, with food, sometimes you run the risk of inadvertently rewarding behaviors. And sometimes with corrections get a bad rap because people are being overly aversive towards dogs, right? So we have to find that sweet spot where it's effective, but not impacting our relationship with the dog, right? And I'll have to bring one of my dogs up in a minute. So getting back to Meg and her issue, based on what I saw of you just grabbing her collar, she got off right away. Like you barely touched her collar, she was already getting off. I'll have to watch the video again, but that's what it seemed like. So it seems like you getting in between her and the counter will be enough of a deterrent to get her off, right? But you're off, it needs to off. You need to mean it, okay? The most important part of that, because technically off in this case is a correction, as soon as all four paws hit the ground, good girl, immediately, right? So we have wrong, right. Okay. And our wrong needs to sound like she's doing something wrong. Our right needs to sound like she's doing something right. That's why I like to have contrast between any verbal cue and the reward, right? So whether it's sit down, come, stay, off, leave it, drop it. No, good girl, good boy. Have that contrast. So clear communication is very important. So try that with her, you know, clap your hands, stop on the floor. If you have to physically get her off like you just did, that's fine. But I don't want to get too zen on you guys, but your energy needs to come across, you know, like, hey, you mean business, right? But on the other side of that, you mean business is good job. I'm so proud of you. Because the energy exchange, especially with puppies, they're so intuitive and oftentimes sensitive to energy. That's why we have to tread carefully if we are correcting dogs, right? Especially young ones. We have to make sure that we're not being overly invasive from an emotional standpoint, right? But just based on the finger that you grab in her collar, it's not like you yanked her. That's all you needed to do, right? So the trick is this: is any behavior or training or obedience behavior, repetition creates reliability. So the repetition of you constantly getting her off, that's an unsuccessful behavior. You mean business. On the other side of that, good girl. The repetition of that is there's no more going over there, just off, and she gets off. But that only happens with supervision, right? So that's why, again, it's a pain in the ass. And you have two puppies that they're different personalities. So you have to cater your energy to meet their different personalities. So, and then where were we? Was it Florence that had the puppy that didn't listen to anything?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. So what are you trying to disconnect? What behavior?
Well, it's similar in terms of jumping on the counter, and her recent thing is eating dog poop outside. I think it's a game when I try to get her away because it's outside, you know, and I'm like trying to like trade it, you know, like here's a treat instead of that.
And is this any
divert her attention at least, you know, and she thinks it's a game and she's running away with dog poop in her mouth because it's frozen, you know. So I'm like, it's this disgusting thing.
And this is in your yard?
Yeah.
Is it her poop or another dog's poop?
Unclear. I'm not sure. I have another dog. We have an old 3-year-old dog, so I'm not sure if it's her poop or my other dog's poop.
Okay. So
but that is into my dog's poop.
Yeah. So you know, stool eating is honestly, it's a human issue. Okay. We think it's gross. They do it. They usually grow out of it. It's something learned in the litter, obviously, because the mom keeps the den clean, especially when puppies are young. You know, the mom will actually lick their butt to initiate, gastric reflux of the puppy's poop. Sometimes the mom eats it like it's coming out of an ice cream dispenser. Other times the puppy does their business, mom cleans it up, right? So sometimes it's usually a learned behavior. They usually outgrow it. Sometimes they don't, and in which case you'll know in about a year. Usually about 1.5 years is when they start abandoning it. Some intact females, I'm guessing they're all spayed and neutered, right?
Not yet. Nope.
Okay, so when they get spayed and neutered, that might help as well. I know sometimes intact females will eat poop their whole lives and keep their yard area clean. They may not eat it outside, and plus when you're outside, you're on leash. You can easily keep her away from it. Do they eat the same food?
Yes. No, because she's a puppy, you know, so she's still on puppy food until she gets spayed. Then she'll be able to get onto the same food as our other dog, older dog. But I mean, she likes it because she's gotten her mouth into it. You know, she definitely is waiting and what food? And my other dog waits until she's done, and then so that she can actually protect her food at the same time.
Right. What food do you feed the old guy?
Oh my god, the something heart. Oh, I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's from Petco. Okay. It's not like a pet. It only seems to be sold at Petco, I feel like, but it's Well-Hearted or something like that. It's a large breed. Okay. Yeah,
how old is the other dog?
4.
Oh, he's not that old.
No, not that old. I mean, they definitely play a lot, and they're.
So I mean, you could, if you really wanted to try and figure it out right now, you could try and see whose poop she's actually eating. In all likelihood, it's his, and it could just have it.
I think it is my other dog's poop.
Yeah, it could have different aroma, and I mean, dry food is not fully digestible to dogs. So some of that, there's going to be a different scent to their poop and their stool. So that could be attracting her. And like I said, it could be just behavioral, not necessarily like, ooh, that smells good. You know, and then obviously you have to avoid the chase, because you chase, she runs away. Like you said, it's a game, right? Games are fun. Dogs like doing stuff that's fun, right? And if it's fun, they're going to keep doing it. So, you know, you either have to get like a stool eating supplement to give one or both dogs, where it would deter them from eating stool, or if you're okay with it right now, you know, and again, it's your dogs, it's your yard. If it's a strange dog in a strange place, then obviously there's a health issue. But your dog's you know the health status of your dog. So, like I said, it's more of a human issue than anything else. Yeah,
it only started when it had that big snowstorm, and I think she could see it.
Yeah,
the white snow.
Right.
It attracted her attention, because before, I mean, it's only been like a couple of weeks she's been doing this. So it's not like she's been doing it ever since she got home or anything like that, or because we're always with her outside, and obviously I'm cleaning up more dog poop more often than I want to now. But no more like biodegradable, you know,
right.
composting.
But Florence, we have the same problem with ours. So we actually have to take our older dog out to poop by himself, clean it up, keep the puppies in the house, and then we let the puppies out, and then they run around the yard and try to figure out where he pooped. That's the game that they play now. But so yeah, it's a two-person project.
Yeah, and horrible. I mean, I've had dogs that have eaten poop, and it doesn't bother me. Good, I've had it. Like I said, you ain't kissing my ass, I'll tell you that though.
That's the thing. I'm like, stay away
now. But yeah, same thing. They're right up Max's butt, like literally nose to the butt, waiting for him to do it. I'm like, and then poor Max is like, leave me alone, I can't.
Yeah, it's and like I said, most puppies do grow out of it. Like I said, you'll know in a year or so, especially if in a multi-dog household, dogs eating different foods. Again, sometimes that plays a role as well. You know, but dogs eat shit. Now, as far as the jumping, Florence, she doesn't respond to any directives by you?
No, I have to usually just pull her down with the collar, you know what I mean? Because me like clapping or doing anything like that doesn't do anything. Usually it's just like my leg, you know, if I'm doing something else, if I'm multitasking and I see her, you know, my leg will go out to kind of like push her off. But, you know, it's like if my other dog doesn't finish her food, like in the bowl, that's like what she's looking for a lot of the time. And sometimes she can like literally get to the edge of the counter, like to the other side of the counter, you know, to the back end of it with her paw and get that bowl and then drop the whole thing. And there's like dog food all over the place. And she's like, yes, I scored.
Yeah. So kind of the same rule applies. Obviously we have to minimize their success because you know, we're
trying here.
Yeah.
Really push back pretty far. We've learned where I can put it where she won't get it, you know.
Right. Yeah. And how does she respond when you pull her off? Any issues with her? Does she?
No, it's sometimes she'll try again type thing, you know. Be like, what
like right away.
Yeah.
Like right in front of you. Okay. So then what you could do now, Meg, does that happen in your home too, or once you pull her off, she kind of settles for a minute?
Settle for a minute, but she'll be back.
Right, but when it happens, you get her off. It's over until her next opportunity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Whereas
she doesn't try immediately.
Okay, so Florence, in your case, then she jumps, you get her off, she's ready to go again.
Sometimes, yeah, not every time.
Okay, so in that case, then same concept. You know, get her off, praise her when all four paws hit the ground, but then you're going to need to stand in front of her and herd her away from the counter before she gets her praise.
Okay.
So getting off is not enough in your case. You need to take the next step. And herd, H-E-R-D, by the way, not H-U-R-T. Just so
I got
herd,
it.
yeah, kind of block her from the counter and take a couple of steps in, get her to back up a little bit. Good girl, then good girl, because now you're creating some separation between the counter and you and her, and then she gets her reward.
Okay.
Okay, but again, repetition creates reliability, and that works with good and bad behavior. So,
yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
In terms of like the hearing thing, like I guess that's obviously a vet question more than anything else. But
yes,
like, yeah, she doesn't respond very often to loud noises, like a fire alarm she'll respond to. But
okay, what about a squeak toy?
Responding to my other dog, reacting to it too, so it's hard to tell.
What about a squeak toy?
Yeah, she responds to that.
Okay, so the hearing is there.
Like selective hearing. I feel like it's like a toddler, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean? Like I don't hear you, Mom, but I do hear that toy.
Does she respond to like obedience commands, like sit and come?
So sit more often. Come, she was doing pretty well with, and now it's like if I have to change my treat almost for her to start doing come again.
Okay.
I tried it mostly in the yard when she would be doing, you know, stuff she shouldn't be. I would try to divert her and say come, you know, and she would come running. But like I can like shake the treat bag and she doesn't come. Like
Right.
she doesn't like, you know what I mean? Like my other dogs used to like be like, oh, I know that sound, you know?
Right. So, I mean, does she respond to the squeak toy in a curious way?
Yeah.
Okay. You could kind of use like, you know, you could even, they sell the little squeakers too. I mean, that's kind of, I'll utilize that a lot to get dogs' attention, you know, especially, and again, obviously taking her to the vet is great to make sure she has her hearing. She really could just not really care about your directives. You know, it happens, but again, repetition comes into play. So how often are you working her with the come command? Like, do you work her every day?
Well, like every time she goes out, you know, I did it a lot inside the house first, you know, and she did pretty good where I would have her stay and then come a little farther, you know, away type thing.
Okay. Does she come in the house 100% of the time?
She would follow me, and I couldn't do come yet because she would just follow me because I had the treats. So
right.
I was trying to have her stay, you know, and then walk away slowly and then say come.
Yeah. So inside the house where there's no distractions, does she come to you 100% of the time?
No.
Okay. You need to get to 100% inside the house.
Okay.
Right. Whatever your success rate is inside, this goes for everyone and any dog of any age. Whatever your success rate is inside the house, you can cut that in half sometimes when you're outside. Right. Okay. Just it's a whole different environment. Right. So our objectives, especially with puppy rearing, is to get 100% reliability inside where there's no distractions. And then we have to do daily work in every environment where we want to achieve reliability. Mm-hmm. So if that means that you have to work her in the yard on leash to make sure she is successfully coming to you 100% of the time, that's what you have to do until you get to the point where you don't need the leash for a come command. Which is a pain in the ass if you have a yard. I mean, you know, I have a yard. I like the fact that I could open my back door. My dogs could go outside, beat the hell out of each other. It's nice. Mm-hmm. You know, but right now, especially during and 6 months old, they're starting to feel a little comfortable in their new environment. Maybe there's been a little inconsistency from the humans that they don't always have to listen, maybe. So, you know, it's, yeah, you all got a bunch of teenagers right now, you know? So, you know, whatever work you do inside, your objective is 100% reliability. Then we take that outside, right? So just, and you know, it's inside, backyard, front yard, on the walks, Home Depot. If you have a restaurant near your house, well, not now because it's winter, but you know, some places allow dogs on the patios and stuff. Home Depot, other home improvement stores. You know, some shopping places. I think Nordstrom allows dogs. So there's places that we like to bring our dogs and can bring our dogs, but we have to work them when we're there. right? We can't just expect our dogs to listen, right? And that doesn't mean that they're not going to generalize at some point. Once they mature and they really understand what you want from them and what they get when they listen to you, right? You know, at some point that will happen where you can take them anywhere and they will respond to you, but we can't expect that until we work them in new environments. So,
Makes sense.
oh, I think we have someone in the waiting room. Oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's a pain in the ass to have to bring them in our own yard and leash them, but it's important, especially if coming to you when called is an issue. We got to start simple, you know, just like teaching the stay command. You didn't just put her in a stay and walk 10 feet away. You walked half a foot away at first, right? And then a foot, and then 2 feet, right? Little by little. So no pun intended, baby steps. So, yep.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Are
no
there
problem.
any other concerns that everybody's had? I know you've been talking to each other on the text about different things going on. So now's the time to get a good answer.
So when we walk Maple, she like hangs herself, I guess is how I'll put it. And she's like, and like, you know, she's making that connection that she's like hanging herself, but she won't stop. And like I stop her, I tell her to sit. We have like a lead that goes around her nose and then like the back of her head. So if we just do it around the back of her head, she'll really like pull. But then if we do it around her nose and then up on the back, she's a little bit better, but she'll like scratch at her face to get it off. And then I have her sit. Like like this morning we went for a walk. We made it maybe 4 houses down from where I live. And then I went back home with her.
So are you using a gentle leader or the Halty brand?
So we had a trainer come and she gave us one. I can grab it and show it to you.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had someone else that was using that gentle leader, Jeff, and they were having problems with it. The dog was constantly pawing at the nose. And I saw a different lead where it was like a harness where they could loop on the front, like on the chest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no pull harness.
That said it was working.
Yeah, we can go over a couple of different tools. I hate gentle leaders. There's nothing gentle about them.
So we have this thing that the trainer left us. So it like clips on her collar. She clearly likes it. She thinks we're going for a walk now. So it like clips on her collar, and then this part like wraps around her nose and then behind her. And then she told us to order Maple up. She told us to order this long lead to practice her recall. So like we got this long one that goes around her, and we just like let it go, and we'll say like Maple come, and then she can run back. And if she doesn't come, we give her like a little correction with it. Hi.
Okay.
But I mean, we were using a harness. We were using a harness before, and she was basically like doing wheelies down the street with a harness.
Right.
Everyone's like, what is she doing? And I'm like, I have no idea. Not walking.
And now this one's not working either.
So it worked beautifully with the trainer. Like when the trainer was here, she was like the perfect angel. She did a great job. And then, then me and my husband we've been trying it. We've been doing it, and it was going okay for a little while. And then we got her spayed. So she's been out of commission for a couple, like 10 days. Okay. So we took her for a walk this morning because she's like healed now, and it just it was back to square one.
Right.
But I just don't know, like I have people telling me, well, specifically my brother and my best friend, they're like, get a prong collar. That's a better correction for her. It'll be a quicker correction, but I just.
Yeah, so the thing, I've used prong collars. In fact, I don't know if you ever heard of this Star Mark collar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
I couldn't find my mask. I'm sorry.
It's similar to.
Right.
Sorry, it's similar. It's similar to a prong collar. It's not as invasive looking. The fact that you're using some kind of muzzle device, and again, I will use whatever tool empowers the handler, because if the handler is empowered and we're using it appropriately, you're going to walk your dog more. It's only going to get better. Like Tony had mentioned, the no pull harness, which is effective for many dogs. Some dogs it's not. I actually have a dog here I'm working. He's semi-feral. I can walk him on the no pull harness in my backyard where he's comfortable now. I can't outside because he's an escape artist and he slips right out of it, right? So I have to use other tools when I'm in other places.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is there's no one size fits all. But the no pull harness is certainly an option. And that's where, are you all familiar with the no pull harness? It connects to the front of the chest.
Yeah.
Okay, it's basically a standard harness. It has the connection on the back and one in the front of the chest. I mean, some dogs, you just put it on and you just start walking, they never pull again. Like any tool, really. Same thing with gentle leader. Even though I don't like them, some people, they put them on, the dog is just good to go. They didn't introduce it properly. They did everything wrong, but it just works on that dog, right? So the thing about, and I don't know if I would use a metal prong on a puppy right now.
Right.
But the fact that she's already been exposed to some muzzle training, for lack of a better word, you know, and if you put her on a regular collar, she's probably choking herself.
Yeah.
So, and I think I have a star mark video I can share with Tony. She could share with all you guys.
Okay.
And in fact, I actually have another Zoom client that I have to do a star mark specific video for her situation that might apply to all of you. Because one thing about Zooms, it's great because it gives us a way to communicate immediately. The challenge for me is I don't know the individual dogs. So sometimes I'm a little reluctant to suggest things about dogs I don't know. But you know, as long as something like, let's say you try the star mark collar, as long as that is used only for walks, right, and it's used appropriately, you're not going to have any issues. The issues come up when people, they leave the freaking training collars on the puppies while they're in the crate, or they tie them out, like stupid things like that. If it's just used for walking and active handling, then you're good. If you're not using it for active handling, you shouldn't be on the dog, regardless of the tool, even a harness, right? Because dogs can get caught up with harnesses and they might not get hurt, but emotionally it could freak them out. If like they get snagged on a crate with the harness, I mean, I've seen it. It's heartbreaking, you know, and nothing physical happened. The emotional aspect of what happened is that's why I don't like any kind of handling tool on a puppy when they're in the crate or unsupervised. So, and, you know, and that it does give you immediate feedback. There's a lot of room for error. Whereas, you know, the harness, like I said, if that's the tool that works, that's great. You're going to know right away. It gives you immediate feedback. I know dogs that they just drag their owners down the street. You put a regular harness on, like the ones that you would think promote pulling, and the dog stops pulling because that's the right tool for that dog.
Yeah, so we went to the vet to get our stitches out, and like, you know, obviously after the surgery, they're like, keep her calm. And I'm like, okay, great. Not gonna happen. And so she just like rips, like whenever we go to, she loves the vet. It's the weirdest thing. And she just like rips me through the vet, like just rips me through the door. So I went early on Monday when I took her, and I had her just like sitting outside and like getting used to being there because I didn't want her to like pull me through the parking lot and through the door. And she like, didn't matter. I got there 15 minutes early. We walked around the parking lot. I practiced having her sit and stay and wait and like follow me, like recalling everything. We go through the door and she pulls me right into the exam room. I can't even control her. And I was like, oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
But
in fact,
she just pulls so hard and she like rips my arm out. And
I mean, if she's that intense, you know, earlier I was talking about whether we're correcting a dog or redirecting with food. Whatever we're choosing to do, it has to be greater,
right?
Whatever the behavior is that they're exhibiting, right? So in that situation, you can pull out a piece of cheese. That's not going to work. She
wants that. Yeah.
Right. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with we need more control, and that's where handling tools come into play to give us some more control. You know, give me a second. Let me pull up. I have a thing somewhere. I could just go through a couple of training tools real quick. Bear with me.
And if you talk about the star mark, Jeff, and they want to take a look at that, I will send them the link and you all offer a video so they can learn how to use it. Yeah,
and if they're gonna, you know, especially with the star mark, if everyone wants to give it a try, all I ask, give me 5 or 10 minutes of your time before you use it, just so we can have a quick Zoom together. You know, this way we could just make sure I mean, obviously the video, if you feel comfortable enough just watching the video, that's fine. But I just want to make sure that, you know, we're introducing it properly and everything. So, all right. So just a couple of quick tools. Do any of you use a retractable leash? Oh, good. Thank God. Okay. Don't. That's all I have to say about that. A Martingale, this is another option that may work for some of you. Again, I don't know the dogs. You know, when I do private training with people, I have an assortment of tools, and I don't just choose one over the other. I might go through a couple to see what the dog responds to the best, not just emotionally, but from a behavior standpoint too, to see what's effective. If you're going to do a Martingale, if you notice this has the chain connector. Some of the / Martingales, they come with nylon. I like the chain because it jingles, and with the jingle, you don't need a hard correction if you need to give the dog a little, or if you need to stop the dog. Sometimes the jingle alone will get their attention onto you. A limited slip collar is similar to a Martingale. I don't know if everyone can see that. That's another option. A slip lead, which is actually a really effective handling tool, believe it or not. This particular one is by a company called Mendota, and there's a lot of slip leads out there, but this one, I'm highlighting that little locking mechanism. Can you see that? So when this goes on the dog's, over the dog's head, you can actually lock it in place so it doesn't slide. This is a potential option for you guys. I wouldn't opt for a metal prong right now, even with the rubber tips. And then the Star Mark, obviously, I like the Star Mark because the Star Mark also comes with a safety loop, which you'll see in the video that I send you guys. But it comes with a safety loop. It's like a safety backup loop. So the leash attaches to both the primary collar and the safety loop. So if you have a puller or a dog who has a tendency to back out, they ain't getting out. You're not losing a dog with it. So, you know, in fact, when I do if I'm doing transports with, you know, ferals or dogs that are flight risks, you know, as long as there's no other behavioral issues, a lot of times I'll use, you know, I will only use a slip lead with a locking mechanism or the Star Mark because I know they're not getting out of it. You know, it's the last thing I want to do is be on Facebook asking people to help me find the dog. That's a muzzle, and where's the harness? So this is a standard harness. Obviously, everyone knows that. The no-pull harnesses are similar, but there's a loop in the front part of the body where the leash would go, and it oftentimes prevents the dog from pulling. So, oh, here's the no-pull harness. So this is another type of, well, that's the front. And here's your halty, which is like a gentle leader. If you guys happen to have a dog that responds well to a head halter, I prefer the halty brand over the gentle leader because the halty brand, if you see this little attachment down here, that little safety attachment connects to your dog's regular collar. So if by chance they're scraping at their muzzle and this pops off, you still have your dog. They ain't getting away. So again, I'm just running through some tools just so you guys have a few options at your disposal because, you know, we have 8 puppies. We could potentially have 4 or 5 different tools that are effective for each puppy, right? Because they're all individuals. More importantly, all of you are individual handlers. So, you know, like Meg and her husband potentially could be using 2 different walking aids. You know, Meg might be using a harness. Her husband might use a Star Mark, right? There is that possibility too. So, and you see the gentle leader, there's no safety mechanism on it. So, okay, let's stop that. Yeah, so I'll send Tony the Star Mark video, and you know, if it's something you guys want to give it a shot. The beautiful thing about it is if we introduce it properly, you're going to get immediate feedback on walk 1. You could take a quick video walking the dog. You can share it with me, and just by your first walk, I can give you little critiques on how to modify your handling for your particular dog. So if, you know, any tool, not just a Star Mark, any tool, but, you know, like the no pull harness, it's easy. You put the harness on, make sure it's fitted properly, hook the leash on, go. It works or it doesn't, right? The one thing I do want to say about tools, any tool you're using, you know, the objective is that at some point you wean your dog off of the walking aid. right? That should always be our objective. Now, if you're going to have, let's say you all have yards, and for the most part, you have yard dogs where, you know, most of their out time is in the yard, and you go for walks, you know, your occasional walks just to give them what they need. Some people tend to utilize their walking aid, again, whatever the tool is, for their, you know, walks or hikes. Whereas most of the time, if they're yard dogs, they're yard dogs. And you know, I'm a fan of walking dogs, but some dogs, they live happily just hanging out in the yard. They do just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, like I said, I like to wean dogs off of walking aids when possible. So. Anybody else? Anybody have anything else?
Hi, Jeff. My name is Nadie. I have one of the male puppies.
Hello.
And I've been having, or I guess the vet's been having trouble with Forrest. He gets very scared once he gets in the door, they say, because I haven't been able to go in there ever with him because of COVID. And I'm not sure if that's causing problems because I haven't been able to go in and like let him know this place is safe, it's okay. But they said like as he's getting bigger, they're getting more concerned with him being scared and lashing out at them, which I've never seen that behavior. So I don't know what to tell them to say like, oh, I do this when he does that, because he's been really good with new people with me. And it's hard to tell them like what to do to help with that.
Extremely difficult to answer that. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, because my go-to in those situations is, and was it Desiree that just mentioned you work your dog at the vet? Yeah. So, you know, that's my go-to is, right. We need to train our dogs and work our dogs in various environments. We don't have that option right now, depending on our vet's office. I was in my vet's office the other day because I lost a dog. So I was in there with him when he passed. You know, but other than that, you know, I've had dogs going to the vet, and a couple of dogs that are here, they had to get their rabies shot. Vet came out to the parking lot. I handled, they gave the shot.
Okay.
My dogs need true medical attention. I'm shit out of luck, and they got to take my dog. Now, you know, my dogs aren't going to do anything, but I don't know what's going on once they go inside. Whereas last year, I'm in there in the exam room with them. I know everything that's going on. So,
that's what my family was saying, that I would be able to go all the way in. Typically, this is my first dog, and I can't go further than really my car mostly.
Right. So, you know, in that situation, I mean, you know, it's hard because you don't know, you know, I mean, it's not like puppies are going to the vet to get ice cream cones and, you know, and play dates. They're going there to get poked and prodded by strange people with masks on. And I mean, that's a lot for any puppy to handle, you know, on top of the, you know, and COVID puppies, they're behind the 8 ball as it is, because socialization, no matter how hard we try, is not the same as it was in 2019.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, there's just not as much stimulation. So the only thing you can see is maybe if your vet, do you have does your family have a long-standing relationship with the vet, or are you new?
So unfortunately, I recently moved to Virginia for work. So the whole place is new, and I had to just kind of ask around of where people in the neighborhood like to bring their dogs. So a lot of people had dogs, and so this one was highly recommended. They do have and I brought him 3 times now because they recommended it. So I just tried to do what they were saying. He goes in, they give him spray cheese, he gets weighed, everyone says hi to him, and they bring him right back just so that he's not always going for shots, and he knows like sometimes when he goes it's just for fun or for fun.
Good. But yeah. So then, and keep doing that as long as they'll let you do that. Then I'm guessing they're closed on Sundays or even the weekends. Go there when they're closed. And just do some
and just walk by it type
just
thing.
Do some obedience in the front door, because then it's, you know, all that stuff is good. He's going in, nothing's happening. He's getting goodies and he's leaving. But he's also going there. It's a place that he frequents that will help. So even though he's not inside under your control, he's there, same environment. He knows where he is. That will also continue that positive association with that location.
For sure, that's something we can absolutely try.
Yeah. So, yep.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. And if they happen to have off hours where they might let you in. And who knows now we got, another strain of COVID. Who the hell knows what 2021 is going to throw at us. But, ideally at some point you can get in there and work him. But for now, we'll just do the best you can. What is under our control is we can go there anytime. You don't need an appointment to go park your car and do some work with him.
True.
You could do that anytime. I say on the weekends, because when no one's there, just so you can get your feet wet and get him working. You have time during the week. You go at 10 o'clock in the morning. They're going to have a packed parking lot, right? And
for sure.
And now with COVID, everybody's sitting in their car waiting. Half the people are in their car, half the people are walking their dogs. Great opportunity to get him around, different social situations and stimuli.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And remember, in that situation too, keep in mind the rule of thumb, right? The more distraction, the higher value of the food reward. So if he works great in your living room for a dog biscuit, you might need chopped up hot dogs in the vet's parking lot with a shitload of dogs and people around.
Oh, for sure.
And just, make sure they're 100% beef, low sodium. That's the only, if you use hot dogs.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
No problem. Anybody else? No?
You guys don't have any other questions?
I
guess you're doing good.
I guess one thing that we've noticed is when my husband comes home from work around I don't know, he's not home now, but probably 7, 8-ish. If he sits on the couch, Maple will challenge him. And no matter what we try, she'll just snap at him and bark at him until he gets up and does what she wants. And it's for until he gets up. We've sat there for a while. And it's this is a brand new behavior that we're just seeing maybe last week.
Does he get up?
He eventually he will because we thought she had to go out so we're oh, maybe she has to go out because we're in our living room and the back door is far, so maybe she has to go out, but she doesn't have to go out. And she'll she challenges him bad, and I'm don't give in to her. So okay. He was trying to make it home for this, but he works for UPS, so
that's okay. He can watch a copy.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, this is a good example. What does everyone think I'm going to say?
Don't get up.
Don't get up. That's what I was going to say.
Why is this behavior reproducing itself over and over again now?
She's getting what she wants out of it.
It works.
Yeah. Because she knows how to be really annoying until we do what she wants.
And dogs don't do anything for no reason. We humans, we do the same stupid shit expecting different results all the time, right? Dogs don't waste their energy on useless behavior. They only will utilize their energy on behavior that works. So your first line of defense here is, and it's unlike jumping, where jumping on the counters and stuff, we have to actively intervene. With this type of behavior, we need to ignore. Okay. What that means is no eye contact, don't look, don't talk, don't correct, nothing. Completely ignore. And you, Desiree, you can't intervene.
Right.
He's got to suck it up and work through it. Right. Mm-hmm. Now, this is what's going to happen. And when we ignore, what we're trying to do is we're trying to achieve what we call extinction. Extinction is when a dog ultimately abandons their behavior. Okay. How that happens is we have a behavior that works and is effective that we're trying to get rid of, right? We're trying to fix that behavior. Our first line of defense is to ignore. So what's going to happen when we, ignore? I mean, even if he's folding his arms and staring at the ceiling, okay? Mm-hmm. She's not going to just abandon her behavior on first trial, right? She's going to bark louder. She may escalate her behavior physically, meaning she may jump up on him. She may paw at him. Her bark may sound more stressed, right? When you start seeing an increase, that's called an extinction burst. An extinction burst occurs right before they abandon their behavior. So, and here's the problem with implementing this protocol is most people get to the extinction burst and they give up.
Yeah.
So what happens is they taught their dog persistence.
I think that's what happened with her.
If you don't suck it up past that burst, you're screwed and you'll hate me. But if you stick to your guns, and if that first episode takes 20 minutes or a half hour, let's say it takes 20 minutes, and she ultimately gives up, abandons her behavior, and goes on to something else, you don't have to reward her. because she's not going to waste her energy on a behavior that produces no result. There's nothing for us to do, right? Next time, it might only take her 18 minutes, and then she'll abandon her behavior. So, 20 minutes, 18 minutes, 17 minutes, that takes a long time to chisel away, taking time off of how long she's willing to perpetuate that behavior in each incident.
Mm-hmm.
But going from, let's say it takes 2 weeks to go from 20 minutes to 16 minutes, right? It's going to take you 3 days to go from 16 minutes to a minute. It's the first bunch that you really got to suck it up and get through, because that kind of pushy behavior, that's a prelude to other things down the road when she's mature and she's an adult and the behavior doesn't work. Her escalation will be different when she's an adult, and then we're having a different conversation. So, yep. But yeah, he's got it. And, it's annoying. It could be loud. If she starts scratching him, it's a pain in the ass. You got to ignore that first one. Once the time factor starts getting less and less, then we can always implement redirects or corrections. But first, we got to ignore it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Well, I got one other thing if no one else has anything. Is when people come over, not that we have a lot of people coming over, but my sisters will come over or whatever for a visit, or Lizzie's, our daughter's friends, and the puppies just jump all over everybody.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
He comes home from work. I come home from work. They jump all over us.
Hold on one sec. Hey, hon. Hold on. I got to yell down to my wife. I'm going to mute myself.
What's happening, everybody?
Oops, shit.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Okay. I told her I needed a dog. We're married 20 years. I wasn't sure if she heard me and she was just ignoring me. That happens.
Selective hearing.
Let me take my headset out so I don't mind me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So with jumping, it's the same rule applies. Why do dogs jump? Because it works. In all likelihood, they're the visitors, or you guys are you're giving them some kind of attention and affection, right? So first and foremost, having a reliable sit command comes in handy, right? And when I say reliable, that means they will sit under any circumstances, right? You have 6-month-old puppies. You don't have reliable sits, right? You're not there yet. So the only other way to do that is twofold. First, we have to educate our visitors. Don't look at the dog. Don't talk to the dog. Nothing. No eye contact, nothing. We have to educate them, and then we have to control our dog. Sable, come here. So I use a standard 6-foot leash, and the best way to do this is, let me screw this down a little bit. So we can you just drop the leash and step on it. That's the easiest way to control your dog. You don't need to be strong. So if she tries to jump, she can't. Most importantly, the correction is coming from the ground, not us. So there's not going to be any relationship issue, because it's not like we're correcting them for being happy. They're being corrected for jumping, and all we're doing is stepping on the leash, right, until we get them to settle down. And then when our visitors come in, we can walk our dogs wherever we need to, right? And we can control them, and we can, if we have to put them in a sit or something, give them treats, and then we can let them engage with our visitors. Good girl, Mama. So that's a good go-to, is just stepping on the leash. And then the important aspect of that is when they settle, then they get their rewards. Then they get to see people. They get to get treats or affection from people. But you have 6-month-old puppies. So this, again, we have to educate our visitors. I mean, I have pit bulls. And anybody can walk in my house and just start talking in a squeaky voice, and they're like, oh, like they get all goofy, right? And with this one, come here. So I can give her gratuitous praise and she won't get overstimulated. My male, he's a spaz. If I give him too gratuitous of praise, he gets too excited. He doesn't perform as well. So my rewards with Sable are good girl. My rewards with Deuce are good boy, buddy. I have to mute and tone down my reward because I'm just going to overstimulate him. So we have to pass that along. And I'm just giving you two different types of personalities because you all have different personality puppies. But educating our visitors, getting that control, having a reliable sit, and most importantly, the visitors is one thing. What other, throughout the course of your day, what other times are you rewarding stimulated states of mind? That wasn't rhetorical, Meg.
Well, I think the biggest problem I'm having, and I call this a problem, is that because we're trying to do two at once, and then we have an 11-year-old, old
pain in the ass.
So, we're trying to, you get one and the other one's looking like, are you talking to me? So I think that's the hard part that I have, is trying to get them both to do the same thing. And like somebody walking in the door, like if we have an unexpected visit, then I'm like, oh, with leashes, how do I do that then? That type of thing.
Yeah, unexpected visitors are tough, but what's their means of notifying you that they're there? Doorbell, knock, phone call, what is it?
They bark their ass off. Like right before Christmas, Amazon, FedEx, they're all dropping packages at the door. Well, they knock and run.
Yeah.
And then the dogs flip out.
Yeah.
Now we got to try and calm them down, tell them there's nobody there. That works. I mean, it takes a little bit of time. It works, though. You got to reset their clocks.
Yeah, so that's different than a visitor coming in.
Well,
the dog.
Someone knocking on the door.
If you delivered Amazon to my house, you definitely wouldn't never walk inside my door. She sounds like a friggin' bear. I don't correct it though, because it's not a behavioral problem to me.
That's the 11-year-old.
Yeah,
very loud.
That's not a problem for me for my dog to be territorial when a stranger comes up my stairs. I'm okay with that, right? Some people aren't. That's why behavioral problems are relative. So that situation is different than them jumping on visitors that are coming into your house because they're happy to see them. Two different states of mind, but both stimulated states of mind, right? So, and the UPS, and you're not going to whip out the leash for that. You're just going to kind of whatever you need to do to get them away from the door and bring them down a notch. When visitors come over, that's where you need to make it. You have to create an opportunity for training. So, they're coming over and you can tell them, look, don't ring the doorbell. Don't knock on the door yet. Right. Or don't knock on the door at all. We'll just come get you, to change the culture of people coming into the house. Right. And it's usually, think about, clicker training, right? Why do dogs respond to clickers? Because there's treats that come after that noise. Well, knocks on the door and doorbells, treats come after that in the form of people, especially when they love people, right? Because food isn't the only reward that dogs get. Affection, interaction, all that stuff is rewarding to dogs. So changing the culture of how people come into your house can help. And again, with two puppies, two handlers, you can have one handler with both dogs, but then you're trying to step on two leashes. I'm not sure how that would work. Now, are they both jumping on visitors? Okay. So you need to set up opportunities to work on this.
Yeah, they just want to give them loves. They want to just like, oh, they're so excited.
Yeah, and what do visitors say when we say, oh, we don't want them to jump? They say, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not okay. I don't want my dogs jumping on people. I want Sable charging at the door when UPS comes here. I want that. I don't want them jumping on my visitors though, So again, limit their opportunities for that to be successful to them, and they get nothing, or the ground corrects them when they try to jump, right? But when they settle down, then they get to interact with people. And that's where throughout the course of our day, when you have puppies, it's really hard to not look at them when they're in a stimulated state of mind, because puppies are either sleeping or they're in a stimulated state of mind awake. Right. And yours is 6 months old now, so they're not as bad as they were probably when they were 12 weeks. you know, when they wake up and that's it, woo, right? But still, we have to make sure that inside the home, you are creating the environment inside your home that your pups are responding to. So if you allow, for instance, if you allow play inside the house, you allow stimulated states of mind. So that's acceptable to you, and that's not right or wrong. My house, and I just told you, when Sable charges at the door, that's fine for me. Our pits don't play in the house. I don't want playing in the house. Not because anything bad's going to happen. I just don't want 120 pounds of dog flying around my living room. So outside is play. Inside is calm. And if they're laying down and they're doing that mouthing thing on the living room floor, like, I'm okay with that. But as soon as they stand up, I know it's on, so I disconnect them and I stop it. Because inside is not a place where we allow overstimulated play or any kind of increased stimulation like that.
Randy's out there.
So, yeah, it's a process. And, you know, the hardest part, I believe, is the educating the visitors part. Always. Even on walks. When if they jump on, people want to say hello to them. No, it's okay. No, it's not okay. No, really, it's okay. No, really, it's not. And this is why, if someone says, can I pet your dog? And you're on a walk. Sure, give me 1 sec. We're working on this because they have a tendency to jump because they love people so much. Just drop the leash. Obviously, you're holding the handle, and just step on it. And this is, again, having a reliable sit. Because ideally, we don't want to have to step on the leash for the rest of their lives. This is just a control mechanism for right now, so the behavior is no longer successful. Sit becomes their new default when they meet people. That's our objective. We're going from jumping to sit. That's our objective. Stepping on the leash gets us halfway there. Us working our dogs through repetition every day is how we achieve that. Is that fair? Okay.
Makes sense to me. So where's everybody's dogs? I think that we should see one dog at least.
Here's Mabel. There she is in all her glory.
Oh, the cone of shame.
Thank you for letting us do that, Jeff. We see each other's dogs.
Yeah. Aw.
Mabel, hey.
No.
Okay, so Florence.
Yes.
Jumping's an issue in your household?
Yeah. Well, she's on my lap right now. I picked her up, so.
Okay. So was that just for the purpose of the camera, or does this happen aside from this?
What, her sitting on my lap?
Yeah.
No, this is for the purpose of the camera.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Good.
She was doing pretty good in terms of sitting there on my lap.
Okay, good. All right. Cool. Aw.